Rain had been falling for hours when Ethan left the highway and took the old county road home. It was nearly midnight, the windshield wipers struggled against the storm, and the only light came from the occasional street lamp disappearing into thick blue fog. He hadn't seen another car in almost 20 minutes. Then he noticed someone standing beneath a lone streetlight, a man. Tall, wearing a dark raincoat. His hood covered most of his face. He didn't wave, he didn't move, he simply stood there. Ethan slowed. He knew he shouldn't stop. Every instinct told him to keep driving, but something about leaving a man alone in that storm felt wrong. He pulled over. The passenger door unlocked with a click. The stranger climbed in without saying a word. His clothes were soaked, yet somehow the seat stayed perfectly dry. "Where are you headed?" Ethan asked. Silence. The man kept staring through the windshield. His face remained hidden beneath the hood. Trying to ignore the growing unease, Ethan pressed the gas pedal. The only sounds inside the car were the rain and the rhythmic swish of the wipers. A few miles later, Ethan glanced into the rearview mirror. Just for a second, when he looked back toward the passenger seat, it was empty. He slammed on the brakes. The car skidded slightly across the wet road. The door was still locked, the seatbelt was still fastened. No one could have left without him noticing. His breathing grew faster. "Okay, that's not funny." No answer. He stepped outside into the pouring rain. The empty road stretched in both directions. No footprints. No figure disappearing into the darkness. Nothing. Shaken, Ethan climbed back into the car and drove away. 10 minutes later, another street lamp appeared through the fog. Standing beneath it was the same man. The same raincoat, the same hood. The same motionless posture, only this time he was closer to the road. Ethan's heart pounded. No. He accelerated, the figure disappeared behind him. A mile later, another street lamp. Another silhouette. Closer, another mile. Closer still. It didn't matter how fast Ethan drove. The hitchhiker was always waiting at the next light. Always a little nearer. Finally, panic took over. He floored the accelerator, the speedometer climbed past 70, 80, 90. The road blurred beneath the rain, then his headlights flickered. For a split second everything went dark. When the lights returned, the hitchhiker was standing directly in front of the car. Ethan screamed and jerked the steering wheel. The tires lost traction. The car spun across the soaked pavement before crashing into a ditch. Silence. Except for the rain. Minutes later, Ethan forced himself out of the wrecked car. His hands trembled. His legs barely worked. He looked back toward the road. The man was gone. Only the lonely street lamp remained. Relieved, Ethan laughed nervously. "I made it." Then something caught his eye. The passenger door was open. Slowly, very slowly. He looked inside, the seatbelt had been unbuckled. And lying on the passenger seat was a folded piece of paper. His name was written on the front. With shaking hands, he opened it. Inside was a single sentence. "Thank you for the ride. I'll be waiting for the next driver." Rain had been falling for hours. Lucas was driving home after another exhausting day at work. It was nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. The highway was completely empty. Ahead of him stretched nothing but wet asphalt, thick blue fog, and the occasional lonely streetlight fading into the darkness. His GPS calmly announced, "In 2 miles, take exit 49. Lucas frowned. He had driven this highway for years. There was no exit 49. After exit 48, the road went straight to exit 51. He assumed the GPS had glitched. A minute later, he passed the familiar green sign. "Exit 48. There we go," he muttered. "The next one should be 51. But the navigation repeated, "In half a mile, take exit 49. Lucas laughed nervously. Ahead, another highway sign slowly emerged through the rain. As he drew closer, his smile disappeared. The sign clearly read, "Exit 49." A white arrow pointed toward a narrow exit ramp. "That's impossible." Curiosity got the better of him. He turned. The exit led onto a narrow 2-lane road surrounded by dense forest. There were no streetlights anymore. Only his headlights pierced the fog. A few minutes later, the GPS spoke again. "Turn left in 300 meters. Lucas stared ahead. There was no intersection. No road. Nothing but endless trees. Suddenly, the GPS screen flickered. The map disappeared. Instead, a single message appeared. "You are still too early." Lucas felt a chill run down his spine. He slammed on the brakes. The car rolled to a stop. Silence. His phone had no signal. The radio was dead. Even the rain had stopped. He quickly made a U-turn and drove back the way he had come. A few minutes later, relief washed over him. A highway sign appeared ahead. He smiled, finally. But as he got closer, it was the same sign. Exit 49. He had somehow returned to the exact place he had left. Lucas gripped the steering wheel tighter. He accelerated. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. The forest never changed. And once again exit 49. His breathing became shallow. He pressed harder on the accelerator. 70 miles per hour. 80, 90. The road blurred beneath the pouring rain. Then headlights appeared ahead. Another car. Lucas flashed his high beams. The other driver flashed back. As the two vehicles passed each other, Lucas instinctively looked through the driver's window. His heart nearly stopped. The driver was him. Same jacket. Same face. Same terrified eyes. Except the other Lucas wasn't afraid. He simply smiled. A slow, knowing smile. Then he disappeared into the darkness. The road was empty again. As though no car had ever been there. The next morning, Lucas woke up behind the wheel. His car was parked safely on the shoulder of the familiar highway. The sun was shining. His phone had a full signal. Everything looked completely normal. He laughed quietly. It was just a nightmare. He entered his home address into the GPS. The route calculated instantly. Then the screen displayed only one instruction. Your next turn exit 49. It was just after midnight when Ryan left the train station. The last bus home had already gone. Rain poured from the sky, soaking the empty streets, while thick blue fog rolled between the streetlights. His phone battery read 2%. Calling a taxi wasn't an option. He sighed and started walking. After 10 minutes, he noticed an old bus stop ahead. A faded route map hung beneath the shelter. Almost every line had been scratched away. Only one remained, Route 13. Ryan frowned. He had lived in the city for years. There had never been a Route 13. Just then headlights appeared through the fog. An old city bus slowly approached. Its engine made almost no sound. The destination display simply read, 13. The doors opened with a quiet hiss. Inside sat 6 passengers. None of them moved, none of them looked at him. The elderly driver stared straight ahead, both hands fixed on the steering wheel. Without saying a word, Ryan stepped aboard. The doors closed, the bus pulled away. For several minutes, no one spoke. The only sound was rain tapping against the windows. Ryan looked outside. The streets didn't look familiar anymore. The buildings grew older. The streetlights became farther apart. Eventually, the bus stopped. No one got on. No one got off. The doors opened anyway. Outside there was nothing. Only darkness and drifting fog. The doors closed again. Ryan leaned toward the driver. "Excuse me, where are we?" The driver didn't answer. He simply raised one finger and pointed toward the front windshield. Ryan looked ahead. Far down the road another bus was coming toward them. It looked identical. Same faded paint, same route number, same cracked headlights. As the two buses slowly passed each other, Ryan glanced through the opposite window. His heart nearly stopped. Every seat in the other bus was occupied. Every passenger was staring directly at him, except one. A young man sitting near the back was frantically pounding on the window. His face was filled with terror. Ryan froze. It took him a second to realize why. The man was him. The other Ryan continued pounding on the glass, silently screaming for him to get off. Before Ryan could react, both buses passed each other. The image vanished into the fog. His breathing became shallow. He rushed to the emergency exit. It wouldn't open. He pulled harder. Nothing. Every window was locked. The passengers remained perfectly still. Without turning around, the driver finally spoke. In a calm, almost gentle voice. "The first time everyone tries to leave." Ryan's blood ran cold. "What do you mean the first time?" The driver slowly smiled. Without looking at him, "You'll understand when your bus passes the next one." The bus disappeared deeper into the fog. The rain grew louder. And somewhere ahead, another pair of headlights appeared in the darkness. The rain began just after midnight. Daniel was driving alone across a long stretch of highway through the mountains after visiting his parents. The storm grew stronger with every mile, lightning flashed across the sky. His windshield wipers could barely keep up. Then the fuel warning light came on. He looked at the dashboard, 12 miles remaining. His GPS showed the nearest gas station 66 miles ahead. Great, he muttered. There was no way he would make it. He slowed down, hoping to save fuel. 10 minutes later, something appeared through the rain. A glowing sign. Mile 66 gas. Daniel frowned. That can't be right. According to the GPS, he still had more than 50 miles to go. Yet there it was. A small, old-fashioned gas station standing alone in the middle of nowhere. Its warm yellow lights cut through the blue fog. Relieved, Daniel pulled in. The place looked frozen in time. 2 rusty fuel pumps, a faded neon sign. An old pickup truck parked near the garage. Inside the office sat an elderly man reading a newspaper. He looked up and smiled. "Storm caught you too?" Daniel nodded. "Looks like it." The old man slowly filled the tank without saying another word. When Daniel walked inside to pay, something immediately felt strange. Every clock in the room showed exactly 2:17, the wall clock, the microwave, an old wristwatch displayed in a glass case. Even a dusty digital clock behind the counter. All of them read 2:17. At the same moment. Power outage? Daniel asked with a nervous laugh. The old man looked at him quietly. "No. They've always shown the same time." Daniel smiled awkwardly. "That's odd." The old man slid the receipt across the counter. Then he said something that made Daniel's stomach tighten. "You shouldn't stay after the rain stops." Daniel looked toward the window. The storm had ended. Completely. No rain, no wind. Only silence. He suddenly wanted to leave. Fast. He thanked the old man, climbed into his car, and drove away. After 15 minutes, the highway became familiar again. His phone regained signal. The GPS worked normally. He finally relaxed. The next afternoon, curiosity got the better of him. Daniel searched online for Mile 66 gas station. Nothing. No photos, no reviews, no address. He called the county sheriff's office. An elderly dispatcher answered. "There hasn't been a gas station at Mile 66 for over 30 years. Daniel frowned. "What do you mean?" "It burned down in 1991. There was an accident. No one rebuilt it." Daniel's mouth went dry. "But I was there last night." The dispatcher was silent for several seconds. Then he quietly asked, "Did all the clocks say 2:17? Daniel's heart skipped a beat. "Yes." The dispatcher sighed. "That's the exact time the fire started." Neither of them spoke again. That night Daniel opened his wallet to put away his receipt. Instead of a receipt he found a faded newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Gas Station Fire Claims, 5 Lives, 2:17 a.m. Across the bottom, someone had written in neat handwriting, "Thank you for stopping by." Nathan had been driving for nearly 3 hours. It was well past midnight. Heavy rain blurred the windshield, while thick blue fog swallowed the empty highway ahead. His GPS estimated another 40 minutes until home. He was exhausted. Then, without warning, the navigation announced, "Turn right in 500 feet. Nathan followed the instruction. The road narrowed. The forest grew denser. The rain became strangely quiet. A few minutes later, he passed a small white church. Nothing unusual. Just an old country church with a single glowing porch light. 5 minutes later he saw it again. The same church. The same light. The same weathered wooden cross. Nathan frowned. Did I take a wrong turn? He checked the GPS. The blue route continued forward as if nothing were wrong. He kept driving. Soon he passed an abandoned gas station. Its broken sign leaned toward the road. A rusted pickup truck sat beside the pumps. Nathan remembered seeing it earlier. A few minutes later, the gas station appeared again. Exactly the same. Even the puddles reflected the same broken neon sign. A cold knot formed in his stomach. He accelerated. 10 more minutes passed. Then he reached an old iron bridge crossing a narrow river. As soon as he crossed it, relief washed over him. Finally something new. But less than 5 minutes later, the bridge appeared again. Nathan slammed on the brakes. He stepped out into the cold night air. Rain tapped softly against the road. The bridge stood silently behind him. Ahead, the white church. Again. He climbed back into the car, breathing faster now. His phone showed no service. The GPS still calmly insisted, continue straight. Nathan drove faster. The church. The gas station. The bridge. Again. And again. The same 3 places. Always in the same order. His fuel gauge slowly dropped. His heartbeat grew louder. Then headlights appeared in the distance. Another car. Nathan sighed with relief. He flashed his lights. The other driver flashed back. As the cars passed each other, Nathan looked through the driver's window. The driver was him. Same jacket. Same tired face. Except this version of Nathan looked terrified. He pounded on his window and shouted something Nathan couldn't hear. Then the car disappeared behind him. Nathan immediately slammed on the brakes and looked in the mirror. The road behind him was empty, no headlights, no car. Nothing. His hands shook as he gripped the steering wheel. The GPS screen suddenly flickered. The map disappeared. A single sentence slowly appeared on the display. You should have turned around the first time. The screen went black. Outside, the white church bell began to ring. 1, 2, 3. Nathan looked through the windshield. The road ahead was no longer empty. Another pair of headlights was approaching. He already knew the driver would look exactly like him.